Well, I am so excited to finally get here to have this conversation. The one and only, well,
Yes.
technically,
Yes,
Phil Beckham. But we'll get into more Phil Beckhams in a moment. You are Chicago. You are so Chicago. You are generations of Chicago. We'll tell you more about that. Yeah. But I had a question as I was thinking about sitting to chat with you. I see you socially, and I know so many people see you socially. They see you flutter around. Yeah. Many may or may not know exactly what you do, so hopefully you'll tell us a little bit more. But I wanted to know, when was the first time that you saw the word, heard the word philanthropist with your name?
Wow, that's a heck of a question. Philanthropist. I think it was quite some time ago, and not philanthropy in the typical way people think of it, where I give hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. Right. It has been from, and I get it from watching my dad, making sure people had the opportunity as he went forward. And that's always been my goal. Not to just build things, because number one, that never was my goal to build anything. But whatever business I've been in, it's always make sure that, did I do enough to make sure that this next person gets an easier path? And then be free to answer questions that typically people are either afraid to ask, or people won't give them any answers because they think if they hold it, it's a secret and they'll be able to use it.
Knowledge philanthropy.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
Ooh,
because
that's a category all by itself.
They can use that and they can pass it on. And that's my way of making sure we win. Yeah. Because I always tell people I need more of us to win. Yes. And if we have more of us that win, we have a lot less problems. And people they feel a lot better about themselves. Just to move forward and do great things. Yeah. And everybody's greatness is different sizes. But yeah, that's a good question. I've been called a lot, good and bad, but that's a good one. So thank you.
Well, yes, I think that I'm processing your answer and thinking. Recently, someone asked me about, legacy, and I don't have biological children. I married into motherhood, which is amazing, but I had to answer that question, and I didn't term it that at the time, but it was that I've taught all these Coach Mo lessons, and I've coached all these people on mindset and how to really manifest and believe and change their thought processes, and then those people teach their families, their coworkers, their friends, and so it has been exactly that, which I never thought about until this moment. Right. So we are sitting in your creation, 10 stories.
10 stories.
On 43rd and Prairie.
Yes. 4307 Prairie.
Technically in the inner city,
It's my neighborhood of Bronzeville.
Yes. Why here and why now?
Why here and why now? So, for first few years of my life, I was at 4737 Wabash. Okay. In a building that my grandfather built, a 3-flat, that my mom, dad, and myself lived in, and my mom and dad had a small school bus company they started, and it got kind of too big with parking buses in the alleys and parking lots and stuff. And we moved to the south suburbs, but I can say that the pictures that I have and the memories I have that were me sitting out on the front lawn in a blanket on 4737 Wabash, and then as I got older, 9 and 10, 11 years old, my dad would bring my brother and I back to certain spots on Saturday mornings. Okay. And we were told, don't talk, speak when spoken to, watch and listen. And we would go into a space and there was so many men there. Wow. And we watched. It was scary sometimes, but we listened and we learned some of the things we heard and some of the things that we watched. Didn't understand until I was probably 15, 16. Okay. But I was in situations I'm like, wow, I remember him seeing that. I remember watching that. And just riding around with my dad all the time. He would always be in the neighborhood. Then he would talk about, we would go places and people would say, I knew your granddaddy.
Oh.
And people would always say, I knew your granddaddy used to do this and this and this. So I wasn't old enough to really absorb my granddaddy. I think I was probably 2 or 3 when he passed. Okay. But just all the people, and everybody seemed to know everybody. And then as I got older, I realized who the people I was talking to. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's who they are.
Yeah, that's why you have to be quiet in those rooms.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's just always been my kids. It's home. And then when I raised my kids here, and they are Bronzeville to the heart. This is their neighborhood, and walk into one of the pathways of getting what we're sitting in is we would always walk to the train station, go downtown, or go to the White Sox game, and we pass up these vacant lots all the time. And that's how, that's how eventually, well, we would go to, go sometimes to the north side and you get off the train and there's all this activity.
Yeah.
But I would also hear my dad and his friends talk about all the activity that was around 43rd Street and 47th. No different.
Yeah.
No different.
Yeah.
What's
it like to carry 3 generations of a name yourself and then bring another Phil Beckham in? What's the weight of that?
I didn't recognize the weight until I was probably in my teens, because my dad and mom started a school bus company called Beckham Transit. Okay. So these school buses are all over the south suburbs with my name on it. And that was the most, at that time, was because I didn't understand how to handle it, was the most embarrassing thing, because kids were like, you got your name on the bus, and I didn't know how to handle that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here's another bus, here they are. We get on the buses and go on trips.
On your own buses?
On their own buses, and the employees they knew me since I was a kid. And they're like, hey, I'm like, oh my goodness.
You're like, I can't get in trouble nowhere.
My mom was always on the school board, PTA, everywhere. And it was different. Yeah. And I realized probably in my teens I was different. Yeah. I'm the 3rd generation that's never worked for anyone. So, wait. Yeah.
Say that slow again.
Yeah, 3rd generation of Beckham that has not worked for anyone. All our checks have our name on them.
That's royalty. Let's just sit in that for a second.
But again, I thought that was the norm. Oh. Until I got in my teens, I'm like, oh,
everybody don't have
this
that.
Is not the same. And I realized why people would, kids my age were saying things. And now I talk to them. It's a different conversation. Not because there's any jealousy or anything, but I understand now, and I understand more of what everybody else's lives were about. Yeah. And so, that was probably the most pressure. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, okay, there's a responsibility with this. And every time I would see my uncle, my dad, and other Beckhams, there was always a way you carried yourself. Yeah. There was a code of how you carried yourself. If you're, when the afros came out, he's like, absolutely not. Oh. This isn't what we do. And he always said that, it's not what we do.
It's not what we do. How have you prepared your son in that light, knowing what you knew about the generations before you, and you taking it to yet another level? How have you prepared your son for that?
Examples, and he got to really be around his grandfather a lot.
Okay.
Before he lost him, so he watched his grandfather. He was, and boys pick up more by examples, what they see. A little bit of what they hear, but it's backed up what they see every day. I saw my dad put a handkerchief in his pocket every day, still right here.
Yes. You got 2? You carry 1 or 2?
One. Okay. And my son saw me with a handkerchief. Just real basic things. Yeah. But it's routines. And I didn't have to be pushed to have a routine, because I get up early to watch my dad and what he did. So my son he had other outside influences, so he's like, I don't need a routine. But now he's 28, young man has routines.
Yes, that's
it's part of life. And so it's been, that part has been really, I embrace it a lot more now at 60. And I'm like, wow, okay, I see this. And legacy was always 150 years. Mm-hmm. It was never 5 years. And it's what not only assets or things, but how you carry carry it to the next generation.
Absolutely.
How you carry yourself.
Yeah. You know, this is this series, and you're so perfect to round out this series of Voices of Influence, that the Chicago Defender is celebrating 120 years
Absolutely.
this year.
Yeah.
And there's so much rich texture, particularly even in your story of 3 generations before you that were all present, you know, in this time frame with the Chicago Defender. What you're doing now is history in the making and will be part of the story going forward. Yeah. But where does the Defender show up for you in your life for the first time?
So the Defender, again, I find out things later.
Okay, don't we all?
Yes. So always knew about the Defender. It was part of what, you know, we had Ebony, we had Jet, we had the Defender, we had the Sun-Times, no Tribune.
That's coffee table stuff.
Exactly, no Tribune in our home, but the Sun-Times and the Defender. Exactly, exactly. And so Bud Billiken Parade, all of that. And then probably 2010, I go to the college, Northeastern College. I think that Bud Billiken was having their, you know, opening day, and, you know, just promoting it. And they put this video up, and they show the kids in the 40s, I think in the 40s, running to go get their newspapers to go deliver it. And I'm standing on stage watching. I'm like, I said, can you run that back? And it's my dad. He's one of the kids running up there to get his newspaper. He always talked about his first job was delivering the paper, the Defender.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, because you delivered the paper. But to see him, I'm like, what? That's my dad.
As a kid.
As a kid.
Wow.
And so I went back with my dad. You know, they got you on video? He's like, I don't know about that. I'm like, yeah. So.
Were you able to get it to show it to him?
So I was not able to get it to him,
okay.
But I started looking. You know, we have a lot of photos and everything. Mm-hmm. Never really paid attention to him until he passed in 2019. So I go through these photos and I find a poem that my grandfather wrote when he got out of the war, and it was published in the Defender in 1946.
Okay.
and I realized that my grandfather and other black businessmen started the Negro Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
Right there at on 35th and Giles at the school.
Okay.
And then there's a picture of my uncle and my dad sitting at one of the expos. And when I posted that, other people were saying, that was my grandfather's company, because there was other signs up there. And I'm like, wow.
That's history.
Yeah, so it has been, the Defender's been a nice strand through our lives. And of course, they published his obituary.
Okay.
But they also posted when black men were going to the military. My dad was drafted.
Okay.
So there's a published in Defender where he was going, where he was going to be stationed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Beckham history is deep through the Defender.
Yeah.
That's so exciting
is
to be able to have tangible memories and proof of these things.
Yeah.
You talked about creating opportunity here in the neighborhood where people could feel like they do live downtown or do live in the South Loop, that the amenities, that the cleanliness, that the texture of what you wanted to create here was the same for that. Tell me a little bit about the mix of people that, it's all rentals, right?
Right.
So you have 2 buildings. Tell us a little bit more about what's happening here on Prairie.
Right, so 43 Green is actually 2 buildings. First phase is 43rd and Calumet on the east side of the Green Line.
Okay.
And the second phase, which we're in, is on Prairie, which is on the west side of the Green Line. This is called a TOD, a transportation-oriented development, because it is based directly along public transit.
Got it.
Train, bus, divvy bike, and walkability. These were vacant lots for about 35, 40 years, just sitting here. Now, the lot we're on now had the grocery store and the Negro League.
I do remember Negro League, yes.
And that building was empty. We purchased it, and that was part of the development. So again, I was never a developer. Everything I've done is because of relationships.
Okay.
Relationships have been involved in everything I've done.
That's powerful.
I always tell people, if you can't pick up the phone to call someone to change a direction of where you're going or move something differently, you need to keep working.
Yeah.
Keep working at it. Got a call saying, can you help me find developers for the vacant property? I'm like, sure. I know developers, but they all said no, except one.
Okay.
And that was a good friend of mine who I've known for 30 years. He was at relationships.
Yep.
And he said, we'll do it, but we won't do it without you. This is your neighborhood. We'll be coming as an outsider, and this is where we do it. So at my favorite place, Sip and Savor, is where we had the discussion.
Heading there soon.
Exactly, had the discussion. And, 4 years later, we have these buildings. And these are, this is, the first building was done, it was the first new construction housing development outside of Hyde Park on the south side in about 30 years.
Wow.
And
that's sobering.
Yes, it is. When people would say it, people would cheer, but I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because to me,
but kudos for doing
no,
it.
no, exactly.
Yeah.
I do accept it, but for me and other people too, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
And this building is 80 units, 2 bedrooms, 1 bedrooms, and studios. What we made sure that the people who live here had the same amenities that you would have in South Loop and West Loop.
Yeah.
We're sitting in a beautiful rooftop deck, enclosed, but we also have grills on the outside. We have workout facilities, and then on the 7th floor is all the outdoor space.
It's a gym in the building?
Yes, and then both buildings have gyms, both buildings have indoor-outdoor spaces, just as you would have in the South Loop or West Loop.
Yes.
And people, all the professionals were worried about people occupying and renting them. So the first building leased up in less than 3 months.
Okay.
Second building had 500 people on the waiting list for a year.
Wow.
And it leased up in about 2 months. And now we have waiting lists for the leases that people have now to be up.
Okay.
So it has been great to see the community be a part of it.
Yeah.
I had our first neighbor who lives further down in the townhomes took a selfie on his rooftop of the building, and I started posting them. And then everybody would just drive by and take pictures, selfies with the buildings, and it just became a thing.
Yeah.
And people said, the marketing is amazing. I said,
What marketing?
What marketing? I just posted what people had, and I had marketing companies saying, we have a building. I said, I didn't do anything.
Organic is
exactly.
the best way.
I said, if you engage with your neighbors,
yes,
then that happens organically. But if you just come in, as I found out because I've never been a developer, they come in, do what they're going to do, and leave. Yeah. I said, I spoke to my neighbors. Oh, you had community engagement? I said, no, I spoke to my neighbors.
I spoke to my neighbors.
Exactly.
Those are 2 different things. One is staged and one is
you.
very natural and real.
I did one engagement, as they would say, or talking to my neighbors. We were building the first building, and I was in the alley because I come by all the time just to watch it go up. And there's a gentleman lives 2 doors down, and I was in the alley, and I saw him sitting outside. And I said, how you doing? So he walked over. I said, what you think? He said, man, it's just some white people building some stuff. Stop. I said, well, I appreciate that because that's what typically happens, but I want to introduce myself, and I'm one of the builders and developers here. And that means I own some of the building. And he had his World War II hat on, and he started crying.
Oh.
And he called his wife out, and we gave me a hug, and he said, I'm so proud. I said, sweet. That's what I'm here for. Yeah. And I need you to know.
Oh gosh, you got me crying. Okay.
and that's my guy.
Yeah.
We see each other all the time. He says, I knew I'm not supposed to be smoking. I said, but I didn't see you smoke. He said, I'm 80-something years old. I said, so I see him out there and we wave. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah. So that's what this is all about for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Representation is a huge thing that we're not always in the room at the table where the conversations of decisions are being made. And then we're just privy to whatever ends up happening to us, which is why I love, what you have done and taking a stand. And there's still somebody who might have said, well, no, not me.
Right.
But I love that you dove in. Are there more buildings to come in the neighborhood?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. We have some more to do on 43rd, on this corridor from King Drive to Indiana,
Okay.
which will include some hospitality.
Oh.
We are have an RFP that we won on Lake Park on 38th.
Okay.
We have another opportunity on the west side in Lawndale.
Come on, West Side.
Have some more hospitality we're doing in Miami Gardens, Florida.
Okay.
And yeah.
So it sounds like you turned into a developer.
You know, I didn't know I was going to be doing this. Again, 6 years ago, I wasn't doing this. And,
That's amazing.
Because of the opportunity, it was passed on.
Wow.
And I don't say no. If it seems scary and uncomfortable, I jump anyway
Yeah.
and say yes to it.
Yeah.
And so that's what came of it. And I'm glad you brought about the table. And this question was probably going to come up. Being able to be at the table and see how things typically work.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, there's somebody I know that can do this work. And bringing people in, the interior design, my girl Gigi, who typically does interior design for homes, I said, you're going to put your numbers in? She said, I've never done that. I said, it's just a big house.
Yes.
And then having them push back from, say, we never work with her. I said, that's fine.
Yes.
There was somebody else you never worked with before, but
Yeah.
she's going to do it. She got it.
Excellent.
Same with my civil engineer. We would sit Kelsey, we sit at Sip and Savor next to each other all the time.
Okay.
And I said, you need to put your numbers in for that. Saw him last night, he said, man, 5 years later, I have more jobs, I hire people. And I said, but that's the whole point, that's the
Yeah.
goal. And
Yeah.
if I don't do that, then what good am I?
Absolutely.
What good am I?
But that's what makes you the philanthropist that you are. And it's really about a mindset of wanting to help, being involved, and believing that you can do something that will make a difference, because the average person doesn't see a place for themselves in that.
Right.
And you said, no, I'm coming to the table, I'm bringing my people to the table,
Right.
and thank you.
Oh.
And thank you for that, because that is very necessary and very important. What's next for you personally? What else does Phil want to get into?
Keep doing things I like and not work. This isn't work.
It's not work.
This isn't work.
I feel
This
the
is
same
fun.
way. Yeah. What
It's
do they say?
stressful.
If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Exactly. It's stressful. It's a headache, sleepless nights, but it's fun at the end because you can do this.
Yeah.
And the people that you bring on and watching them just grow and win and do great things, personally, that's fun.
Yeah.
And then my kids,
I was
who are
so cool about
28 and
you.
25, my 25-year-old twins and my 28-year-old son,
Okay.
I'm like, Daddy.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
28, 25.
Yeah, my daughters
Your
are
daughters.
millennial babies. They're
Okay.
twins. So whatever year it is, that's how old they are.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
Copy.
been it's been to watch them,
Yeah.
watch me, and that is cool.
I imagine that's how your dad felt, though, being able to watch you get to this place and create the name for yourself. For yourself.
Yeah. So and my mom always says he's watching. I lost him in 2019, just as we were starting the first building.
Okay.
And I always know that when we bought our home on 42nd and King, and it was being rehabbed, he was there every morning because he was involved in construction.
Okay.
He was a master carpenter, as was my uncle, as was my grandfather.
Okay.
So there was nothing they did not know about construction.
Right. They knew how to do all
and
the
he would be
parts.
there all the time, waiting for the construction people to get in. He'd be there walking around, watching what they're doing, and he would have been
here every day, talking to the man
talking
in
to
the
the
alley.
guy. Exactly. They would have been buddies.
They absolutely.
They would have been buddies. So those are the parts I truly would have loved for him to be here, but I know he's still here.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's the part.
That's so beautiful. Well, I appreciate you sharing your vision for what was possible, how to take advantage of a moment. I think there are a lot of people that have entrepreneurial, spirit that maybe don't have the risk or the relationships, ability to take risk, or the relationships that will sustain for them. What would you say to somebody that wanted to do more than they are doing for the community right now, but just don't really know where to start, what would you say to them?
Well, a lot of them have already started.
Okay.
And a lot of people that come to me for advice on how to be a developer, they already know what they want to do. A couple of things they do that stop them. First thing they think about, it's too much money, I can't do this. And when people think about money first, it paralyzes you and you can't think. And it's, what's imperative about anything you're doing, you have to be able to think clearly.
Yes.
Which means keep the waters calm. Money will paralyze you and you won't be able to think anymore, so now your idea is dead.
Yeah, having money and not having money both paralyze you sometimes.
Exactly. No,
yeah.
I totally understand. But to keep your mind clear, you have to continue working, and I always say back into the money.
Okay.
Because a lot of what when people do great things, it's about the story.
Yes.
It's about the story.
And we realize that later, and we look back, and so I always tell my clients, it has always worked out. So you don't need to know how it works out right now. You just know that it does and that
Right.
it always will.
Right. And then the
but
confidence.
you got to get going.
Right. Second thing is the confidence. Because I grew up in a household where there was nothing you couldn't do, it was, well, why not? How come you didn't do it? Confidence. And so I come across a lot of people who have everything ready. And typically with black women, they are so prepared. And when they get afraid, they go back to school because that's comfortable.
To learn
and they're
more.
successful
Yeah.
at school. Guys ain't going back. But, and typically all people need is to say, you got this,
Yeah.
go, jump.
Yeah.
It's okay. You're a badass, go do it.
Go do it.
Go do it. There's
Yes.
nothing else to do on paper. Go do it.
Yeah.
And you know, most of the time I'll tell them, I'm gonna push you off in the water, but I'm not gonna let you drown. So you can call me, you can text me. Everybody knows where to find me.
Yeah.
I'm not hard to find.
Usually it's Sip and Savor
Exactly.
down the street.
They still look at me like, you still here? Where am I supposed to go?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's yeah, those are the two things. People, money. Don't get me wrong. Money is very important.
Yeah.
But you can't let it paralyze you, because then your idea is dead. And the other is confidence. You need somebody. You need cheerleaders around you. People have too many family members that don't want you to leave.
Yeah.
And they want to keep you.
Where they know you.
Exactly. And they're the first ones to get you because they know emotionally how to get you. And I've had a couple of people I tell them, you need to stop talking to them.
Yes. We call those dream stealers.
They
And
are
sometimes
adults.
they're related to you.
They are adults. They're not children. You're not responsible for them. And it's time to move on and do what you think is best. I've even talked people out of going into business because I realized as they talk, it was for their family. Their family wanted them to start a business so they could take the money. I said, do you like your job? She said, yeah. I said, you like all the places you go? She said, yeah. I said, do you ever want to have your own business? No. I said, well, don't.
No.
And she started crying right there. She said, nobody ever told me,
Freedom.
don't do it. I'm like, don't do it. They grown. I said, are all these people 10 years old? She said, no. I said, they're grown. Walk away. I said, you don't, just because they're blood don't mean they're family.
Yeah, that's true.
Move on.
Ooh, that's a whole, we could have a whole master
Whole thing,
class on that one.
exactly, exactly.
I wanted to touch on something since it's relevant to the neighborhood, but it's personal because some of our friends and your friends, my friends that own businesses in this neighborhood have seem to be under attack. And it's hard enough to have a business in a neighborhood, let alone multiple locations, as we know with Trez and Sip and Savor. But recently, several of the restaurants in the
Yes.
neighborhood have been attacked.
Yes.
What is the profound impact that you could share with others on that? Because I feel so, I even just get caught up even talking about it because these are people that I know that have worked so hard to create these businesses, to sustain these businesses, to hire employees that live in the neighborhood who are walking distance to work. And it feels personal. I can't really put my finger on it. What would you add to that?
I'll start with Chris Rock. He said it on stage. And that part will always be the downfall of black folks.
Yes.
And I heard that when I was younger from those guys I would listen to in spots.
Yes.
And my dad told me, to do great things, if you want to do it in your own neighborhood, those are the ones that you're going to have to deal with.
Okay.
Not black folks, but them.
But them.
And Harriet Tubman had to leave a lot of them behind. And obviously she didn't leave enough behind. But I go back to when I would ride around with my dad, and there was a lot of self-policing. A lot of self-policing.
Yes.
A lot of other cultures still do.
Yes.
Chinatown don't have many problems. Little Italy don't have many problems.
Facts.
Never hear the police. So, the police are there to protect and serve, but they usually come after.
Yeah.
And what the outpouring of support that our black businesses get from us is outstanding. And it has to continue. It has to get stronger.
Yes.
And we have to be more, I think, more of an advocate and be there more often and say, hey, this is not going to happen here anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember during that brief period of, pandemic and George Floyd, and people were outside protecting, protecting homes, protecting neighbors.
We did it at the Civil Room 47 in Michigan.
Yeah.
And we were protecting it from people who look like us.
Yes.
And
we were in a heightened time, but I think that we're in another heightened time where we really have to do that. We have to go out of our way to go to these places and support them and protect them in every way possible. And so I just love that there's more possibility coming from you. I am quite excited to see what the next Phil Beckham is going to do.
It's going to be fun. It's a headache already, but it's going to be fun.
Indeed. And you continue to put people on. Just keep doing what you are doing. You are exactly what the Voices of Influence is all about. You are a voice. You provide voice to others. And the Chicago Defender is so excited and happy to end and close out our 2025 with you. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And the Defender is always part of my life. And this is very cool.
And we will continue to be.
I am honored, so thank you.
Absolutely a pleasure.
Yeah.